Hey, so you played a whole bunch of this funny, every pixel is simulated video game, but you're still unable to win. Or you have won a bunch of times, but the thought of setting foot into the vault sends a cold shiver down your spine. Let me try and go over the biggest dangers that the player can face in each of the main biomes of the game, going from the mines all the way down to the Temple of the Art. I'll also include some of the side biomes, they can be quite lucrative if one dares to set foot in them. The video assumes you are somewhat knowledgeable about the game already, so if you're a complete newbie, I guess you can watch it too. I'll try to keep things nice and simple. Also, spoilers. Consider yourself warned. Keep in mind that Noita is a vast game, so the options you will have for dealing with different enemies can vary depending on what you find. I'll try to offer solutions that you'll have access to during pretty much every run, so without further ado, enjoy! The main path of Noita consists of 7 main biomes or levels, with occasional access to side biomes that the player must go through in order to progress through the game. You technically don't have to go through all of them, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to assume that in order to get to the final boss and win the game, you must visit all of them. So what? Enter the mines, go through the floors, win the game. Easy, right? Wrong!
It's fiction.
Every floor is filled with dangers, and direct or indirect contact with said dangers can put you in a very compromised position. Block an entire path forward, or, well, make you start a new run. The mines is as much of a starting level as one can expect. Basic melee enemies, basic shooting enemies. Also this guy. There really isn't anything on the first floor that can compare to these hot fellas. They throw fireballs that do 25 damage each, set you on fire, bleed lava, and are extremely athletic. Thankfully, they are allergic to water. Any amount of water or water stain will damage and or kill them. Killing them in this way will result in a trick kill, so you'll get double the gold. They're also allergic to knowledge. Toss a tablet at the guy, boom. Double gold, one problem less. This enemy is usually a big issue for newer players, but after watching this video, I expect you to see him as a walking 60 gold nuggets. Side note, this floor can very rarely spawn an Uko, which is an electric version of the fire guy. I'll go over them later, but if you see this guy on the first floor, he's generally not worth the trouble. Other than that, this place is where you'll learn that having a flask of water is the difference between life and death, as it allows you to deal with toxic sludge and fire, which are both very problematic and will bite at your health until there is none left. The place of opportunity, with lots of gold dust hidden in the walls. The dangers on this floor are not really that scary, except for the copious amounts of lava that the fireflies can bleed. Instead of having specific dangerous entities, this floor will usually flood you with a swarm of enemies, overwhelming you quickly. The Firefly Hive is probably the last thing you want to see here. It bleeds lava, spawns flies that bleed more lava, and killing it with the wrong spell can cause the entire area below it to be flooded with lava. This floor can also spawn the occasional Hiisi Alchemist. Alchemists can throw flasks that break upon collision. Now this guy would count as a danger for sure, since one acid/lava flask can instantly kill you. But it can be a flask of Telly, very useful. Or Berserkium, also very useful. Or Pheromone, really useful. So make sure you're careful when trying to get to the liquid you want from them. Or just avoid them. I don't know. Don't die though. This is the one of the most dangerous places in the entire game. Yes, I know we're still on the second floor, but hear me out. This place is filled with a wide range of enemies, with the most dangerous encounters being Uko. Again, we'll discuss later. Blinding Masters, which will make you not see what kills you. Masters of Twitching, which make your wands fire on their own, and make all your spells inflict friendly damage. Teleporting Masters, which can teleport you entire screens over, possibly into death. Swapping Masters, which you can accidentally hit off-screen, swapping places with them, teleporting into death. Polymorphing Masters, which will turn you into a sheep that will die if anything sneezes at it. Freezing enemies. I'll discuss later why being frozen is a bad thing, especially in an area where 90% of the enemies deal melee damage. Exploding mushrooms, and many more. Avoid getting near this place or simply take a peek if there is anything good at the edge of the biome, but do not go inside unless you know what you're doing. Because if you do know what you're doing, this place is filled with potions, hearts, chests, and good non-shuffle wands. So it's a high risk, high reward kind of place. It's your decision whether you want your run to get strong from this point on, or end in this very biome. Okay, I've been postponing this one long enough. Uko is dangerous. And he spawns on a floor filled with off-screen shooting snipers and propane tanks, so that says something. Uko fires thunder charges, which are powerful exploding projectiles that will kill you 90% of the time on direct contact, unless you possess both explosion and electric immunity perks. If you somehow survive, the electric shock will stun you for long enough for him to fire again. When it comes to dealing with them, there are two ways that I can think of. First is the Chad option. Thunder Charge is slow and gains travel speed over time. You can easily avoid it as it is fired and kill him in between shots, ideally with a tablet. There is also a safer way, but that requires some space and long-ranged spells. Uko's aggro range is relatively small, allowing you to kill him from far away. Best way to know if there is an Uko nearby is to listen. They produce very distinct electric sounds when around, often followed by explosions. Do keep in mind that another enemy on this floor can create the same electric sounds, which isn't really a problem because you should be careful around both of them, as they can electrify liquids or metals, usually leading to your instant death. As for the other big danger on this floor, it's the ice skulls. So now it's time to talk about why being frozen is bad. Getting hit with a melee attack while frozen will multiply the damage taken immensely. Luckily, they are quite squishy, so just don't get close to them and you'll be fine. This floor can very rarely spawn Masters of Teleportation, Masters of Grounding, which make you unable to cast spells for a period of time, and Shape Changers, which have the ability to apply chaotic polymorphing effect to you and other enemies. However, these encounters are fairly rare, so I wouldn't worry about them too much. This place is small, dark, really dark, and really, really dangerous. It's one of the few places in the game where you can find Taikasava. These are living, flying wands that will fire at you at their earliest convenience. So, you know how the scariest thing that can happen to a player is an enemy holding a wand? In this biome, this experience is pretty much a canon event. Definitely avoid this place unless you know what you're doing. Because if you know what you're doing, this is the earliest place in the game where a player is able to perform a heart mage trick. I'm not gonna go into detail about the trick in this video, but just know it's a technique that allows you to multiply your health by abusing the Master of Wounding Heartache debuff. Really powerful, but the risk of doing it in this place is really great. Welcome to the Propane Zone. Here it's not the enemies that are the problem for once. Today it's you versus the environment. This place is filled with bombs, propane tanks, explosives, burning oil, and worst of all, lamps. Make sure you notice the propane tank hidden in the snow technique before it's too late. There are 3 noticeable formations that can spawn in this place that are worth a mention, those being the Vat of Lava, Teleportatium, and Unstable Polymorphine. but they are usually not that common or that big of an obstacle on your path of blowing up the entire place using the conveniently placed explosives. There isn't much else to say about this biome, except do remember to abuse the abundance of explosive material and the healing projectiles of Medic Hiisi to turn this place into an absolute joke. That is, if you're going slow.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Now this is the biome. Jungle, despite being very easy, is also abundant in heart and chest formations, decently tiered wands, easy enemies that drop a lot of gold, as well as the Dragon Cave. Now, Dragon can be a menace if you don't know what you are doing, but if you happen to find any kind of freezing spell on your way down, this guy turns into a chest which contains a single heart up and a guaranteed non-shuffle tier 6 wand, which can carry the rest of your run with ease. Jungle has two side biomes, one of them being a small Fungal Cavern, which includes all the dangers of the floor 2 Fungal Cavern, so make sure you're careful around that place. The other place is Lucular, which I'm not going to discuss because there's like zero reason to go there on a simple run down and win a short run. It's dark, it's filled with ominous liquid, and giant, abominable spiders that heal from projectile damage. Generally not worth to go there. There is one enemy which I didn't mention that spawns in the jungle and in the next biome, the vault. Peitsivartia, or Land Sentry, is a flying tank that is immune to explosion damage. Not only that, he periodically fires high-velocity projectiles that pierce through soft materials and deal holy damage. Now, Mina, aka player character, has a 0.35 explosion damage multiplier, making you take much less damage from explosives that you normally would have. Pretty neat stuff, right? Well, Mina also has a 1.5 damage multiplier to holy type damage, which isn't very common, but you will feel the damage when one of those spears hits you for almost 50. Now, 50 is not that much, but combine it with the guy's insanely persistent aggro, high accuracy, decent attack speed, and immunity to explosions, and you might just find yourself at the start of the game. While this sounds scary though, it's nowhere close to the actual danger of the jungle. Master of Twitching applies a debuff, which makes your wand fire automatically every few seconds, which wouldn't be that scary if it wasn't for the fact that it also makes all your spells do friendly damage. If hit by one of these guys, immediately retreat and wait for it to expire, as dying to your own spells is very cringe, if not done on purpose. A thing of note, if you're so smart as to switch to, let's say, a flask for the duration of the debuff, switching back to a wand after Twitchy expires while holding a non-wand item will still make the wand you switch over to fire once, so keep that in mind. This is the place where most people find out that Noita might not be the best game for them. Filled with an army of robots and eldritch horrors, this place can easily freeze melee you to death, fund you a free visit at the acid bath spa, or keep you on fire for long enough that you will arrive at the other end of the biome dipped in barbecue sauce. Enemies of note are Uko, whom I have discussed already, Masters of Twitching, Masters of Exchange, which I'm going to talk about in the Temple of the Art part, which is the next one, Rocket Roombas, seriously, those rockets do insane damage, Land Sentries, and many more. The risk of dying to electricity-related incidents is the highest out of all the other biomes, as the conductive floor can easily inform you of the presence of an Uko or a Thunder Spirit when your heart stops from the shock. Oh, and also, giant vat of acid. One of the hardest biomes in the game, especially challenging for new players, can be overcome with patience. A good tip for the vault is that rusty steel, which the biome is made out of, is not as hard as regular steel, meaning it can be blown up with bombs and TNT. Do with this knowledge what you will. I am not responsible for any deaths resulting from listening to this tip and rushing through the entire biome. This is the place where pretty much every enemy is a danger. We have polymorphing guys, electric guys, meteor guys, crystals that cause earthquakes, or turn the nearby area into not so funny to stand on rock. Pretty much every insta-death in the game can happen in this place, from electric shocks to being polyed, frozen melee, bathed in acid, stunned into lava, rained with excessive countermeasures, teleported out of existence. Also, there are ghosts. This is the moment where I want to talk about an enemy which I didn't talk about in the vault part. Master of Exchange, or Swapper Mage, is an enemy which changes its position with you if you damage it. Now, I don't need to tell you how scary this is in this biome, or in the vault. The amount of scenarios this guy can lead you into that end with an instant death is so large that it would take another 4-hour video just to explain them. Here's a good example of that.
Little homunculus. No joke. Oh! Oh! Did you just see that? I'm wasting time to see that bullshit that just... Fucking dirty as hell, man.
The sole existence of the singular enemy makes you reconsider becoming a pacifist for the rest of your Noita career. One enemy which is responsible for a lot, and I mean a lot of deaths, of our beloved green-bearded wizards, that is, new players, is the the glowing creep. Now this guy, he does nothing, like actually nothing. He floats around, you toss tablet and he's gone. Oh, but if you attack him, he's going to retaliate with Pinpoint of Light, which has piercing capabilities, by the way. So it's probably going to murder you, depending on how spammy your main wand is. But if you somehow manage to go through all of that, you'll find yourself a red portal, which will take you to the very last Holy Mountain, where the final boss of the game awaits. Hey! I would like to issue huge thanks to all of my friends, other content creators, modders, and my Twitch supporters for the immense support I have received over the past year of content creation. I really hope you enjoyed watching the video. Check out the description down below for any references to things I have put into the video. And if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you'd like to see me live, come in and say hi. I stream pretty much daily on twitch.tv/SnekGregory, so make sure to check that out. I'll be seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.